I want people to see me. I want to be visible. I want to be acknowledged. I want to be treated like a human being. And we just heard that over and over again. And then we also heard so many people talking about the importance of community and solidarity with one another. So I've been at UC San Diego for about 23 years, and it's where I've been my entire academic career. So I have a bachelor's degree in architecture. I went to UC Berkeley, and about 2 years into my undergraduate education, I recognized that while I was interested in architecture in the built environment, what I was most interested in was the interaction between people in the built environment. And I didn't know there was a field called urban planning, but I was fortunate to be at a university in a college where architecture was also housed with the Department of City Planning. So I picked up a minor in city planning, and that was where everything just clicked. And I had the opportunity to do research with the faculty mentor on some affordable housing policy. And I realized I was very interested in affordable housing. And so then I actually took a gap year, and I spent half a year in London and doing an internship working for an organization that was working with homeless families. And this was decades ago, and it's just striking to me that what I was seeing in London in the 1980s is what we're seeing today in many large US cities, and just even worse. The crisis is so large and it's so deep, and it's cutting across, you know, people from every background. So in the homelessness class that I'm teaching, we take the students out to our community partner, Jewish Family Service of San Diego, which runs the safe parking program. So these are folks who are basically living out of their cars, but they go to these safe parking lots at night. So there's security, there's a warm shower, there's food. And we just went out last week with the students, and it was really eye-opening for the students to see their families, their working people, a lot of elders on fixed income. So just people from all different walks of life and different backgrounds. So, and everyone has their unique challenges. I mean, clearly we need more housing, we need more affordable housing, but I think we also need education. There are so many stereotypes and stigmas about homeless and who is homeless and what does a homeless person look like? I mean, what does that even mean? Because I can guarantee you that if a stranger showed up at the safe parking lot with their preconceived notions of what a homeless person is, how they speak, what they look like, that would all just completely get obliterated by just spending some time having conversations with some of the clients. So, it's everything from education to larger structural changes. We've got systems of oppression that have been in place forever. They've been institutionalized in our planning programs, our policies. So you got the big stuff, but then there's also, let's start building more affordable housing and at different price points. And then let's provide people with the resources they need to stabilize their lives. Does someone need additional education so they can get that next job that's going to pay them a little bit better, take them to that point of being independent? So lots of different things, lots of different points of intervention. I think what really stood out, so as I mentioned, we went to the site last week, and it's the first time that I've done field work since the pandemic started. So, just a lot of excitement just to be able to get out and do that again. But what was just really stood out, we started off our evening with the class, and about 15 or so of the clients who were at the safe parking lot. And one of the common themes was, I just want to be seen. I want people to see me. I want to be visible. I want to be acknowledged. I want to be treated like a human being. And we just heard that over and over again. And then we also heard so many people talking about the importance of community and solidarity with one another, right? And knowing that someone's looking out for me, right? So if I didn't show up at the lot the time I usually do, someone's saying, where is she? She's usually here by now. I wonder what's going on. But that was just really, really powerful. Just, we're all human beings. Treat us all the same way. Well, I mean, I always learn new things, right? Because there's always great new research that's just adding new layers and additional ways of looking at a problem. One of the things that both Professor Lewis and I have noticed is that there isn't a lot of research that's been done on homelessness in San Diego. And so there's some other folks, there's some great researchers at University of San Diego, at Point Loma Nazarene, San Diego State, and actually Cal State San Marcos. And we're all trying to spend time together learning from one another. We have these convenings. We've all received some research funding from the Lucky Duck Foundation, and they bring us all together every 4 to 6 weeks. And we share our research. And then we have other opportunities to meet with the actual service providers. So making that bridge between what we as researchers think are compelling questions, but then talking to our colleagues who are out there on the ground, the front lines, like, what are your challenges, right? What are ways that research can help you, right? So I guess it's a long-winded way of answering your question, is that I really feel like the research should be driven by what are those compelling challenges, right? So it's research for action, right? I mean, I'm a big believer that we need our theoretical frameworks. That's critical. But when we're talking about homelessness, we need to be doing research so that we can better understand the obstacles and understand and identify interventions that work, so we can push those forward, right? So we can get to functional zero with homelessness. I would say, as fellow human beings, we all owe it to one another to help those who are less fortunate than us, and work with them, right? So it's not the charity model, right? The model that was so prevalent in the 19th century. We're going to take care of you because you can't take care of yourself, right? So, not that, but I think it's incumbent upon society, right? We have a societal responsibility. And I think too, again, kind of coming back to this earlier theme of education, I think it's going to be really critical for any of these big societal issues, is that a lot of people need more education, right? Because we do have these stereotypes. We do have this fake news, right, that gets circulated out there. So how do we educate folks? A lot of it is having conversations with someone you trust and respect, right? So we hear from students a lot, yeah, I grew up with my parents saying really kind of derogatory things about homeless folks. Don't look at them, don't give them money, they're dirty. But, through this class, I'm learning so much more. And now I go home and I have a conversation. And it's not, hey, Dad, I'm going to change your mind. But hey, Dad, did you know? Or let me tell you about my experience last week when I went to the safe parking lot and I met this person who kind of reminded me a little bit about you, like this guy that works really hard and really cares about his family, right? So that connection and that sharing of information, I think, is really critical. And I will say it's not for everyone. It's not like every student needs to go out and do this. I think everyone needs to have that education, but we can't expect everyone to go out there and be an advocate for every issue, right? But for those who feel like they've got some knowledge, maybe it relates to what they want to do with future career, like aspirations for graduate school. I think, those are some really important entry points as well. Yeah, my advice is that it's a great field. It's rewarding in so many different ways. It's rewarding in terms of the clients that you get to know, but also your colleagues, right? And so kind of that ecosystem of folks who become your professional community. But in terms of like, actual career advice, do internships, because there's so many different ways that you can craft a career. You can go the NGO route. That's what I did. I loved working in a nonprofit organization, very mission driven. But there's also pathways in the public sector. You could work for city government. You could work for county government, state, federal. How do you know where you fit in? Do some internships. There's so many great programs that are out there here in California, other parts of the country. So just give yourself that exposure. Find professional organizations and go to some of their events. Hear talks when people are talking about their work. I mean, now, if there's a silver lining to the pandemic, it's how now via Zoom, right? You can just log into a really great webinar that's being run by someone in New York or someone in another part of the world, right? So take advantage of that, just that constant learning, but then putting yourself out there and seeing, where does it fit, right? Like, does this feel like kind of the type of environment I want to be in? I'm so proud of our campus because I feel like our campus has really stepped up with our basic needs hub, and they have amazing staff there. I mean, they have a housing advocate, a housing navigator, Damian, I'm forgetting his last name. But we literally have folks here on campus who are resources for students. And so if you are a current student, take advantage of those resources that are here. They've got emergency loans. They've actually got some emergency housing, right? They can help you get into that housing. I think this kind of goes back to the education piece though. I think that college students define houselessness very differently than a lot of other people. Because college students are kind of used to being in this early state in your life where things are a bit more transitory. So, we hear, for example, that students who couch surf see that as perfectly fine. I'm stably housed because this week I'm at this friend's house and next week my friend said I could sleep on their couch. That's not stable. But to a student, right? So how we define houselessness and housing insecurity, I think, is really important. And it's not just, let's just get you the basic necessity. Couch surfing that's not good, right? As a student, we want you to be in a safe, affordable place where you've got that stability and where you've got enough money at the end of every week and every month to have good nutrition, to get enough food, right? Because there's strong correlations between housing insecurity and food insecurity, right? So making sure that you're covering all of your basic needs and then some, and so that you can focus on your studies. I have so many students who tell me they have to miss class because they have to pick up another shift at work. So they're working 2 jobs to make enough money to be a student, but yet they can't make it to class because they've got to go get that additional paycheck. And that just breaks my heart whenever I hear that.
Thanks for watching. Hit the like button and comment with your own thoughts and experiences. If you'd like to see more content like this, please subscribe to our channel at Real Life Videos. Let's rehumanize.